freestyle, go outside. And when I tell you, if you don't have a specialty, like you don't freestyle, don't stay in this room because you will be judged very hard because there's a lot of specialties in here. So just go out and let me get the freestylers out the way and then we'll move on, okay? Motherfuckers cool. We're gonna move fast, okay? This is what we're gonna do. Please don't be disrespectful to the other person that goes before you or after you, okay? This is not a battle, okay? You're all on the same team, but you're not. I'm trying to get the job. When I say next, you go out, okay? And then you're gonna go to this side, you're gonna stand against that wall, okay? All right, you ready? Great. Thank you. Yeah, there were so many amazing people yesterday, and I appreciate everybody that came out. Getting it down to like the bottom is really easy. I can do it really fast because I can see it right away. And how people dress and how they walk, how they talk, how they stand, their posture, their attitude. Sometimes I'm surprised, but for the most part, I know who's gonna be great and who's not gonna be that good. And then when they come up and dance, I'm usually right. I mean, you saw how fast I was cutting people. I don't want to say, oh, well, maybe they'll get better. Let me give them another chance. Because I know they're not ready, or they're not right for this job, or for my choreography, or for my team that I'm working with, or for this job, you know, but they could be great for something else. Then you have to go to who looks better, you know, who brings something else to the table, who's a certain type of body type, who has a better face, who dances a little bit cleaner. You have to start really pulling in other elements. Because at that point, when everyone's so good and at the same level, you gotta start pulling from other things. And then you also wanna like break up race. You wanna have, you know, different diversity up there because you don't wanna all look like the same thing. The only time you wanna look like the same thing is when you're moving, you know? Other than that, everyone should have their own personality, their own look. But when it comes to the dancing, that's the only thing that should be robotic. You just have to cut it down, you know, and be efficient with it. When I first started crumping, it was like a very African-American thing, and I saw it somewhere, and I didn't know what it was, but it was captivating and aggressive and huge energy, and I walked up to the guys and said, what is this? What are you doing? And they said, this is called crump dancing. And I said, how can I learn more about it? Where can I go to see it? And they say, you know, you can come to sessions. Sessions were anywhere from garages, houses, parking lots, mostly parking lots, late at night. And it was always in like rough neighborhoods. And I started going. And I just was in love. I was in love with it. So I started practicing. I built up enough courage to get in a circle. There was maybe 200 people there or something. You know, I got out there and I warmed up and someone yells, "Get him, Casper!" And everyone starts laughing. because my name is Bo, you know, but everyone yells, "Get him, Casper." Everyone starts laughing. I'm the only white guy there. And I dance and they laugh and I'm like, let me just go home now. And it was embarrassing, you know, and ever since then, like, you know, people will call me Casper all the time, and I'm like, I'm gonna change my name to Ghost. That's gonna be my nickname. That's so much cooler. And nope, that didn't work. They just kept calling me Casper. So, you know, I jump in circles, I get laughed at, I'm like, so like, I felt like it was gasoline to my fire. You know what I mean? Like my fire just kept getting bigger. I'm like turning into the Incredible Hulk. And I trained 7 days a week, probably 4 to 6 hours a day. This is all I did for a year. And was going out to sessions and stuff, you know, all the time, whenever they were. I entered a battle. There was like 400 people there. I battled this guy, and I was amazing. Like, it clicked, it worked. And everyone went nuts, they went crazy. And that was when everything started. It's crazy, man. And then I wanted more, you know, it wasn't enough. I had the street respect. I mean, I could have got better, but I was very, very well respected and very good. But I felt like, where do I go from here? Like, I want more. Like, this is not a career, you know what I mean? Like, I can't make real money off this, you know? Debbie Allen had a dance competition. It's summer intensive she has every year. And it was a 3-day intensive, and I went for the battle section. And it was like a tournament. It was, you know, hundreds of people that entered from all over, because people come and train from all over the world. And I was like, you know, let me jump in. And I knew like tricks and stuff because it's the crumping, and I already had like some entertainment stuff. And I entered, and I just kept getting further and further and further and further until I went to the last day. And so Tommy's there, and he hosts it, and he does the whistle, and he's a referee, and you know, you battle, and the crowd decides, and there's judges, and I won. And it was a $1,000 check I got. It was the biggest check I had ever gotten in my life. I was 18, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. Rewind, I want to be a firefighter my whole life, you know? I went to Fire Explorers. I turned in all my paperwork when I was 17, right before I graduated, so I was gonna jump right into college, get my, you know, my paramedic degree and jump into firefighting. I had to, you know, connect from one of the chiefs, and they were gonna help me get in. I was like, I'm gonna be married by 24, I'm gonna have kids, I'm gonna have dogs, I'm gonna have a house, I'm gonna have a great living. I'm a firefighter, I love it. And then this crump dancing came into my life, and then I won this $1,000. I'm like, this changes everything. Ha, boom, ha, 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 boom, ta, 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 ha. Kill that. I was ready the first time. Second time, okay. What is that? Boom, ha, boom, ha, 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 ha. Yep. I want to do a little of this bit, and I want to do a little Bobby Shmurda thing, but I want to like hit it like boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Like boom, 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 boom. And then we're going to, okay? Ha, 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 ha. A choreographer is someone who choreographs. They make up steps. They make the routine, they choreograph the dancers, the artists, the band, the background singers, whomever it is, and they put steps together. You know, it's everything that's movement, as far as bodies moving. It's like, you know, what I did for Anaconda, all I did was choreograph. That's what I got hired for, to come in, and work with the artists. For like Natalie LaRose, I just did her video. I got hired to come in and choreograph and take her up like another notch on not just dancing, because she's an amazing dancer already, but as far as performer, you know, how she's in front of the camera, her facial, just giving her more character and things that bring her up to the next level. That one's gonna be very special. I'm gonna use this whole song now, and I don't want it to cut at all. I want the camera, so if I'm on Nugget first, and Nugget like, push my hands this way. Boom, it goes like into whomever. You know what I mean? It goes to the crumbers, and they're like, boom. And then you guys are like, blah, and you're like, boom, boom, and you catch, you know, JD on the floor like going nuts, you know what I mean? And then JD like pushes the camera and it goes up to like catching you doing a fucking a court, you know what I mean? And so forth. But I want that to be like a one shot. It's gonna be fucking hard. And we're gonna have to practice on my iPhone. So that I want to be like super, super, super tight. So I'm just gonna use the whole song to do it. And then we're gonna go into the warehouse. So that's like where I'm gonna let everyone just like really go to town as long as you want and just go off, you know. And I'll invite some of these other people in here too, like Tucker, Cliff, Antonio, and Masa. Cool? Yep. So play the song a few times and get into it. You know what I mean? It doesn't change very much at all. It's pretty much like this the whole time. So like it's not like, oh, I want that part, because that part is the same part. So just push space bar and let him play. I'm gonna get his water. All right. Run that. You guys just chill for a second. I'm gonna let them, you know, get familiar with this music. Okay? Yeah. Think about, like, all right, here's my set. For this section right here that we're gonna shoot, this is my strong little set right here. It's 4/8 and it's powerful as shit. No one can touch this. And that is gonna be the one that makes it, okay? I love how many styles are here. Right? I feel like when you're loyal to people, people are loyal to you for the most part. When you're good to people, people are good to you. When you smile, people smile back. I just try to, you know, when I come out the house, I try to have always good energy and smiling and up, because when you have good energy, it brings up other people's energy, you know? And that is really important in creative atmospheres. All right, cool. Let's do it. I'm tired, but it's been good job, ladies. We're ready. We have no more rehearsal days. We are ready.
All right, here we go. We're gonna flip it. Good morning.
Professionally, I've been dancing for like 10, 15, since I was younger, for so a long time, since I was 18. I think growing up, I just learned different styles of dances, and then I've worked with Casper before, so he knows that I know how to twerk. So most of the people here, he knows what our specialty is, because of the audition, you know, like we freestyle. Right now, I guess my role is just a dancer. I'm just gonna show that I can really dance and not just be sexy. That's my role.
for about, I'd say like 13 years. I started when I was 5. But I trained all around, so I like to do all styles, but hip hop is definitely like my ish. Back home, my sister was a dancer, and I was running around the studio, and so they threw me in a class, and that was it. I did that from there on.
Danced 10 years ago as a popper. Then I discovered circus, which I fell in love with. I tried to mix dance and different skills that I learned, and this is a part of it. So I mix popping and contact juggling. I like challenges, and I was ready to move on in my career, so I decided to get into Los Angeles because it's a big industry. So I get motivation and take my flight.
I started dancing like when I was 12 or something, you know. And actually I stopped dancing like 5 years when I was a teenager. And I moved to LA just for learning English. And then I started dancing again.
I went to my first national tournament when I was 11 years old, and I saw people just flipping. I was like, Mom, I want to do that. Like, that looks cool. And then ever since then, from 11 years old, I've been doing tricking.
I moved to LA and I had 2 rules. 1, never move back home, and 2, never get a regular job because I've been training for this my whole life. So all I did is I came here, I just busted my butt, just a trick. I went through a phase of like being broke, not having nothing, but I was like, forget it, I'm gonna keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and now I'm here.
Been a dancer for now like pretty much my whole life. Been a popper though. The style that I do is called popping. I've been a popper for like 24 years. I was raised by a funk and soul band from my uncles, and it was just a whole different avenue. So I was raised listening to instruments and watching them perform. And to me, it naturally, musicality and dancing just came with it. The funness of it, like the happiness that you get when you hear music, especially live music. So it's just a blessing to have that. Like I don't think a lot of people out here, even from LA, were able to grow up with that, you know. And it's always, you know, you're fighting against the street life, the street culture, and gangs, drugs, you know, all of that.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! What the fuck? I'm gonna kill that fucking guy.
Been dancing since I was a little kid. Was doing a lot of imitating Michael Jackson, James Brown. My style is b-boy, predominantly. My brothers are older and they grew up in the 90s, so I was copying them as well with the New Jack Swing style, which is like when MC Hammer was around. And when I found b-boying, that's something that I really fell in love with.
And I'm training a whole bunch of different styles, but here I'm doing hip-hop. I've been training ballet, jazz, tap, contemporary, modern, musical theater.
I'm a crumper. I'm doing some choreo and freestyle, you know. Choreo is one of the hardest things I had to pick up. I had to, but I love it now. You know, me and my homie B-Dash, that's my bro.
What inspired me to dance was the movie Rise. It was about crumping and clowning, and I was more onto the crumping side, so that's why I was like, it had me amazed, like I want to do that dance. And I started crumping, and I ended up meeting Tie-Dyes. And he showed me how to like really develop my style. And crump was like my first foundation style of really like just going head first and really digging into that style. And now I'm one of the best crumpers in the world because of my mentor.
This guy, Tommy the Clown, who you know, was part of this movie Rise. He was one of the founders of Crump, and he does like clowning, which is like crump dancing with a lot of entertainment. So then Tommy has an audition. It's a tournament again. It's like maybe 600 people auditioning from all over, want to be part of his crew. Now Tommy the Clown travels the world. He tours the world, he does shows around the world, they get paid. It's nice, it's fun, you know? Like all my whole crew, the Crump, like everybody was like, "You're gonna go clown?" I was like, "You're gonna dance in the street forever?" Like, you know, I wanna do more. I wanna travel. So I audition, get to the top, beat the top guy, first place. Tommy's like, great job, great job. His clowns are all there. They're like, good job, good job. I'm like, that's all? That's all? Nobody else? So Tommy sends one of his guys out, and I roast him. Like, killed him. The management of the crew is like, good job, you know, we'll stay in contact. So I'm like, or we'll call you. I'm like, great, I got it. Like, I won, I beat everybody. And nobody calls. 6 months later, Tommy calls, and he goes, block number. He's like, hey guys, this is Tommy the Clown. I'm like, ha ha ha, very funny. And he's like, no, this is Tommy the Clown. And I'm like, okay, stop playing, like, who is this? It's like, Casper, this is Tommy the Clown. You auditioned for me. And I'm like, hi, how are you? What's going on? He's like, hey, so I want to know if you want to go do some shows with us and see, you know, how you do. And I'm like, yeah. This is just kind of see, like, how I like you, how the other people, the other clowns like you, and how you get along with everybody, and how the crowd likes you, which is most important. So I'm like, great. I danced with Tommy for a little while, and a couple years, and traveled the world a couple times. One of the times I came back, this girl, Miss Prissy, who was like the queen of Crump, who still is incredible. She said, are you signed? And I'm like, no. And she's like, you need to have an agent. Sets it up in a meeting with this company, Clear Talent Group. I walked in, I gave them a tape of me crump dancing, and they were like, we'll be right back. They went upstairs, they came down with the contract, and were like, sign. Okay, yeah. Great. I got a call. We have an audition for a music video. And I was like, okay, I went to the audition, I booked it. First week, booked. And then it was like, book. You see this, bro? People know me as a dancer or a choreographer because they don't quite know what a creative director is or what they do. They're like, oh, creative director, what's that? Because they don't know. The background, the red, great job. Creative director is someone who can be from anything to doing music videos, to tours, to award shows, to private shows. They write the treatment, exactly how things look with picture references, video references, are there lasers, are there pyro, everything. And you explain your vision in your head on how you could see this performance. And you send it to, the artist, they approve, and then you go from there to, the award show team, or if you're doing it for tour, then you get like a company that does all this stuff, and they help start executing everything. Or if it's a music video, usually the directors write the treatments, but I've written a few, or given like the full concept and idea, and then the director like cleans it and makes it for them since they're directing. When you're a creative director and you're doing an award show or a tour or any of these projects, and there's 20, 30, 40, 50 people working for you, you have to handle everything with grace. And I do have to think about what I say, how I say it, when I say it. Because people do get upset. I don't mean it to mean harm. I just mean it to say, do your job. Do this right now. Do it. Why didn't you do it? That's not an excuse. I'm doing my job. I need to do yours.
Jump for time.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, they might get in trouble, but it's not like a business or an office job where someone can get fired and then they bring someone. I get in trouble. So if he messes up and he gets the lighting wrong or the pyro goes off or doesn't go off, they just don't use him again. That doesn't matter. I get in trouble. I don't get the next job. Because the artist looks at me like, what are you doing? Why wasn't that right? Why wasn't that perfect? It goes back to they're the ones on stage. It's their product. They have to stand there and be in front of the camera. And so if something goes wrong, it's my fault. I think that's been like the biggest thing is just learning how to like humble me. I met this guy, Frank Gatson, who was Beyonce's creative director and choreographer for 15 years. He books me. We get in rehearsal and he's like, I want you to choreograph. I want you to choreograph this, this, and this. I teach everyone, it's a lot of people. It's like 20 guys or something. I went to London and choreographed, and Frank was creative directing, so he kind of like let me do the choreography and run that whole shit. So I started choreographing for like my own stuff. Just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I stopped assisting, was choreographing myself and kept choreographing. And then I started creative directing. I just kind of started seeing the bigger picture and wanting, like, I was like, that doesn't look right. Like, I see more than just the moves. And I started creative directing, and that's where I am now.
Sometimes street dancers have a certain mentality to where they come a lot from a battle background, and they come from somewhere where, they're just used to like dancing and like, I'm dancing. They're used to dancing and just battling it out. And I think sometimes that can accidentally become one-track minds. I think for Casper, he started out like that, but like I said, he's such a go-getter. I think that he kind of pushed more to kind of broaden his career options.
As I was more in the industry, I just kept training and learning how to do more things, so that way when I would go into audition, I could do everything. I went to an audition and I tried to do, it was a double turn, like pirouettes, and right back into choreography, and I messed up. And they kept me because my freestyle was so good. By the third time, they were like, we gotta let you go. From that moment, I was like, that will never happen again. And that was my motto still to this day, is like, this will never happen again. If I can't do something and I get let go on a job, you'll never see me again come back and not be able to do that thing again. I learned how to do things. They were like, hey, we need someone to learn how to flip off a wall. They were like, can you? And I'm like, no. We're like, okay, great. We'll find someone that can. Go learn how to flip off a wall. And I learned, It's like that with everything.
Yeah, I think sometimes opportunities are not presented to street dancers because sometimes people look at them and also think, oh, they can only do this, they can only do that. And that's why I say it's so important to expand your horizons. You need to be able to do so many different things in this industry because, you don't want to be looked over.
If you want to be able to do things like this, when you get to do cool things like going in and out of styles, it's good to have different training. And a lot of times it intertwines, because even though I'm not necessarily crumping in this choreo, there's like a certain familiarity with that style, like a certain attack, to where it helps to kind of know what crump is about.
So you could do so many big things rather than being in the street. You could bring the street to the industry, but you just gotta be real and be yourself, and don't let nobody change that. But then, if you have to dim stuff down just for that moment, just do it.
There are definitely differences of opinions and creative creative differences when you work with artists, because they are creative themselves. They are artists, and you're bound to have differences with people you work with and people you are around. So when you're kind of on this, when you get hired by someone to do a treatment or choreography, whatever that may be, and they don't like it, yeah, definitely it hurts. It hurts your ego because you put your heart into it and you're feeling, and if they go, I don't like it, you're like, I don't like you. No, but that's how you kind of feel. It's like, how do you not like it? I love it. So, but it's, at the end of the day, it's they have to love it because it's them on stage, it's not you. It's their video, it's not yours. As much as you feel like it is, because you're creating it, it's not. You're not the face of it. It's tough, but you just have to deal with it. It's like anything else. You have to really try to go into everything with grace and no ego and no attitude and no pride. You just have to go in there open-minded and do what you do best.
It's not that street dancers don't have the same space or opportunity to work. It's just that what is most helpful, not only to a choreographer, but to an artist or a tourist, to have dancers that are versatile, that can do a lot of different styles. But if you're from the street and you only stay with street styles, you're limited. It doesn't mean that you're less of a dancer or more of a dancer. It's just a limitation, as in anything. I just think if they start that way and then spread, then they have no limitations.
People are only going to think of you one way. But I do think as far as Casper, he has a special personality to where, like I said, he does not take no for an answer. And he will learn and he will ask questions and he will talk, and like he's still growing in this industry even though he's done so much. He's still growing and he's still pushing himself. So yeah, I think it's all in your mentality.
People that can do a freestyle very, very well and choreography are that much better than someone that can do just one thing. I would learn how to do choreography. That's what I was told. You know what I mean? That's what I tell people. Dave told me, if you want to be successful and like very successful, you got to learn choreography. It took me a second, but once I did, and once I really started training, I was a lot more successful. My best moments on a stage or performing, it's gotta go back to like, I mean, as much as I love performing with all the artists and jobs I did, and hearing those fans and stuff, there was nothing like it for me like when I was crump dancing. And there'd be, you know, anywhere from 300 to, you know, 3,000 people in a huge room. Or outside in a parking lot, and it was all about respect, and it was just about the battle and the dance and the art and the aggressiveness of crumping, and that's where I started and that's where I came from. So those were some of the best times of my career, I'd say, because that was kind of like the beginning of my career before I even knew it was going to become a career. I think the worst criticism I had was, which didn't only happen just once, but like the first time I got it bad was when Tommy said, you know, you're too arrogant, you're too cocky, and that's dangerous, you know? People don't want to be around that. And then there's another girl who I knew for a long time, this dancer, and she said it one time too. And I was like, she was like, a lot of people like you. She's like, but they don't like you at the same time. She was like, they just think you're an asshole or a jerk. And it's not that I'm trying to be a jerk or I have any bad intentions. I'm very straightforward and I say what I don't sugarcoat, you know, or So like when I say what I think. I say what people think out loud, and it doesn't come off great. And my timing is not impeccable all the time. But I say it, you know, I don't bite my tongue. And people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that. But in my position, it's tough, you know?
Choreography, why people enjoy it so much is because you generally have a number of dancers all at once dancing together in unison, and it's choreographed, it's pre-planned, so there's a lot of creativity in it. There possibly is a story that's being told, so every moment and every beat is utilized in dance.
Seeing numbers of people dancing together and choreographed and synchronized, the entertainment value is on a larger scale and more people are entertained by it.
It all depends on the project, on how I feel. It's very like artistic. Sometimes I choreograph, or sometimes you know, in creative direction you have to do a lot of prep work, which we did a lot of prep work and that was done. But choreography, sometimes I choreograph before and I have it all set, but sometimes I do it on site, which I did a lot of it there, because it's a feeling. I like to workshop things and see what works, what looks good, what doesn't look good, because I would hate to have something prep and put it on everybody and then me go, oh, God, I hate that. And then you say, what am I gonna do? So I'd rather get an idea of what I'm gonna do, you know, overall, and then go in there and work it out.
1, 2, boom, boom, go, 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 boom, boom. I love that. I loved you shifting. That was cool.
It feels better too.
Because then you're adjusting the group picture on behalf of the group. You're like, I got you guys. We're gonna make it. Yeah, let's try it with music.
Yeah, sure. Everything with Kevin is a feeling. Depending on how he feels, he'll choreograph, or he'll be like, this doesn't feel good, we need to change this part.
Yeah, so you're facing backwards. Backwards. Yeah, so we're facing into this circle to kind of welcome her energy, and then we take off. But mind you, we need you guys to not come so close in because she's going to be whirlwinding through here, and then you book it.
Like there's parts where he's like, I feel like right here we need to like feel like a strong connection between two people, and then he expresses that to everybody. Or he's like, this part feels like one person is like trapped in between everybody and has a moment then to like break out and be alone. So he always just kind of expresses like what he wants things to feel like, or what you should feel when you're doing it. So it helps you to not only execute the movement, but execute the performance and make people feel what you're feeling when you're performing it as well.
Choreographing from video and camera to stage is very different because the camera picks up everything, so you can do like little movements, you know, that like can see, you know, like on camera, like just things that are small, you know, but you can do all this stuff on a stage. So when I choreograph for stage or creative direct and hire choreographers, I always choreograph for the people in the nosebleeds, the people that are the diehard fans that maybe can't afford the front row ticket. Those are the people I want to show, and those are 12,000 people back, you know? So 15,000, 20,000, depends on the arena size. So can you see that far back? That's how I choreograph for stage. I choreograph big movements, you know, things that are gonna be seen, you know, way back there that look great in pictures, you know? Dancing in front of a crowd, it's like this adrenaline rush that you can't get anywhere else. A camera feels really good, but it's not the same because you don't have that roar, and it's like cut, action, cut, and you do it over and over. So it's not the same, whereas like stage, one time, go, hit it. When I choreograph for camera, I try to be extremely tight because it's camera, and camera is unforgiving and it's forever. It goes on YouTube, it goes on, documentaries, films, wherever it goes, it's forever. So there are no mistakes allowed. So I try to be very, 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 very tight. Also like formations.
No, remember this has to be real wide.
So for like stage, you can be in windows and it'd be fine because that whole half of the arena can see you, but maybe not that because people will be blocking you. But with the camera, if you can't see the camera can't see you. So you have to just move formations around a little bit because there's not another camera over here to see you. It has to be able to see everyone in the back and the front, everywhere.
Oh, yep, there. And Tara, scoot in. The hole, scoot in a little more. Right there. Yeah, now we have some real camera layers.
So it's a little bit of a difference, but used to it.
Like long class, I'll give you a 5, 6, 7, 8 and just start your house part. Even if it's not the part of the music, you guys can still do it, right? When you are not finished growing yourself, like if the ceiling is here, you kind of start feeling like you can't go anywhere, because you're teaching so much and you're giving so much, but you're not learning anything and you're not growing. So I felt like that in Chicago, like, I love it here, but like I start to feel like, clustered.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So moving to LA was okay. Like I opened up a new space for myself. I can't stress enough, there's just so much to do here. And I go home and I visit, but for me, I still feel like there's still so much for me to learn in LA.
If you feel that you've reached a certain level, the place to really make it for your career would be to come out to Los Angeles. This is where it's all happening. The majority of all that business is here in Los Angeles. And if you want to be discovered, if you want to have a career in dance, you come to Los Angeles.
I feel like the people who last in this business are genuine, they care about their work, and they're good people. You do good, people will come to you, and staying focused on what's important, the soul of it.
A lot of people have to do something else. And dance, like we said, it's all about passion. It's all about feeling the music and moving and all of that, and people do it because they love it.
If you want to survive in LA, first of all, as a city, and also the industry, you have to believe completely in who you are and what you have to offer. Like, if you don't believe in what you're doing, nobody else is going to believe, and then you're going to have such a short career. You have to have a special mind and a very specific mind, but also you have to have a good heart and a good person to be able to last this long in this industry. I love working with artists and kind of like learning their personality and just being that person like who they trust and also pushing them,
5, 6, 7, 8, jump, flash, flash, flash. Nice. very blessed and fortunate to do what I do and have what I have and be in the position that I'm in. Having people know you, yeah, it's definitely different. Not that I think I'm any sort of, celebrity or big person or anything. I just feel like I'm just a person. Person that has another job. I'm willing to completely stop all the dancing, choreography, creative, everything for acting. Absolutely. Because I love acting. But I do get stereotyped, for sure. And rightfully so. Because how would they know any otherwise, It's like when I get the opportunity to go into the room and audition, that's for me to show them that I'm not a dancer. Just a dancer. I'm not just a guy with tattoos. I'm not just a choreographer. I'm not just a creative director. I'm not just anything. You can't categorize me because I do so many things. You can't put me in a box,